Welcome to SciTech Culture with Steve Kern and Ben Warner, where we examine science, technology and culture in the 21st century. Visit our website at scitechculture.com. Well, welcome to another week of science, technology and culture. It's always nice to talk about things, and admittedly I was spending a bit too much time on the Science Alert website, Steve, and I came across a couple of topics that I thought we could talk about that were a little bit different to what we normally do, so hope you can indulge me with that as we go along. So the first one we've got here is this idea of experts revealing the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath, and I guess I thought of this because you do encounter these people from time to time. There's no way around it because they're out there. There's a statistical percentage around it. The main takeaway I took from it was that the psychopath, even though it wasn't definitive, that's not what they were saying, but the psychopath kind of has a genetic component to it, and the sociopath one, even though it was unclear, was more a product of their environment, growing up or whatever. But the other thing I did want to mention is, and I should track down the clip that I saw. It was quite a while ago, but it did stick with me. Someone who was talking about psychopathy and in relation to himself, because he was actually talking about it, but he actually did like a test, a proper test on whether he was or not, and it turned out that what shocked him was that he was flagged as having these indicators, but he was a properly functioning person in society. He wasn't like killing people or treating them with the disregard and everything. It's just that maybe the factors of his upbringing, his environment, the support maybe he gets from other people didn't exacerbate any of those tendencies to come out. I just threw that in there just as an extra bit of context, because that maybe back then when I saw that clip we could have talked about it, because it really did interest me when he was talking about this, and he was basically saying, I think in the context of with these types of personality traits that there's a tendency to say Hollywood glamorizes a psychopath as being a Hannibal Lecter type, which is also mentioned in the article, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. They could just be walking around and interacting and not having that kind of devastating impact, although potentially they might be in some other ways. Who knows?
Well, I guess this is the thing. Yeah, there is a particular image of a psychopath or a sociopath as typically being a serial killer, but they take on many different forms. And really what whichever one you're describing focuses on are a set of characteristics, usually basically based around narcissism or self-interest. And, unsurprisingly, there's the famous research that shows, I think, 85% of all CEOs score very high on the psychopath test. And there actually is a classic psychopath test. Once again, it's not definitive, but you can probably find it on the internet somewhere. It's 30 questions. You answer them and, it gives you a psychopath rating. And then there's also the other famous scenario test about, the woman who attends a funeral. I won't say any more about it. You can Google that. And basically, if you give the answer to that, then apparently you're a psychopath as well. So there's a lot of fun that can be had with it. It is very serious. Psychopath or sociopath are people that you probably want to avoid. There is also a very famous documentary made by the Australian Broadcasting Commission. The producer-director was Ian Walker. It's called I, Psychopath. If you can find a copy on iView, I recommend checking it out. It's about him going on a journey to look at psychopaths and meeting a real-life psychopath, and that itself is a pretty good story. So, I personally go old school. I really don't believe there's much of a difference between psychopaths and sociopaths, although, if you want to define a difference, you can see these experts have. But, yeah, generally best avoided, or better still, be one yourself.
Absolutely. And just quickly, I just wanted to touch on a point you made there about people who ascend leadership hierarchy demonstrating this traits. It actually kind of makes sense if you think about it, because if you were to have the kind of ambition to get to the top, like the real top, you really do have to have a lot of self-interest at play going.
There'll be a lot of skeletons in the closet along the way.
Absolutely. That's why, and it ends up on the news. That's all righty. Let's go to something a bit more social. The beer pint, and an experiment suggesting in the UK of scrapping it would, shock horror, boost health. Let's not make fun of the fact that, oh, really, drinking less leads to better health comes. I wouldn't have been able to guess that one, but the idea that running this experiment of reducing the size of an imperial pint down to 2/3, apparently with the price match to go with it, yielded people drinking less, which then obviously led to better health comes. I just thought, it's kind of funny, but maybe they have to do a study like that just to make it completely obvious to people.
Do they? This is spurious science at best, and to think that somebody at Oxford would publish something like this is just ridiculous. I mean, insert alcohol, KFC, chocolate, dairy foods, eat less, you'll be better off. Great. It's just, honestly, the idea that somehow now they can regulate, write some policy that beer can never be served in 568 mil servings or whatever it is, it's ridiculous. I get it. I'm not disputing that less is better, and I'm not disputing that, like a smaller serving may cause you to drink less and you get health benefits, although it might also just mean you buy an extra pint at the end of the night.
Yeah, which comes back down to behaviour and encouraging people more broadly as a general rule rather than doing that. Maybe the only value in something like this is like a media encouragement kind of scenario, just so that it sounds like there's something a bit more specific behind it.
Oh, to me, it's just, it's risk gone mad, because there is the risk reduction in this is so minor that it's just not worth the effort. If you're really serious, ban it.
Yeah, and then
please don't. Please don't.
And that's why I said then you see the pitchforks coming out.
Exactly.
I actually wanted to dovetail this into the last topic we got here today, because I think it's kind of similar in a way from that study perspective. The idea that scientists have calculated how much exercise we need to offset a day of sitting, which I find amusing, because it sounds like if you plug in this formula, it will automatically work for you. And I believe the numbers they're looking at is 30 to 40 minutes of moderate to vigorous, intense physical activity every day is about the right amount to balance out 10 hours of sitting still. Again, it's a bit like the beer one. It's a bit like, of course, if you get up, if you're more mobile, our bodies are made to be mobile. The more you move around, the better it's going to be for your health-wise. Maybe there's something to it in the sense of highlighting the fact that, so many of us, for whatever reason, whether it's work, the way we're set up, or, we are sitting down a lot. But it comes back to that idea that, you have to, if you want to make sure you get the good health outcomes, you need to get up, you need to move around, you need to keep yourself mobile, etc. I don't know if, maybe you feel better if you go out for a 30-minute jog and then sit on the couch for the next 10 hours. I don't know.
And I think that's one of the points that they've also shown is that, okay, you can sit on the couch for 10 hours and do 30 or 40 minutes exercise, and cardiovascularly, that might, offset the effects of sitting on the sofa. But sitting on the sofa for 10 hours or at work for 10 hours has other effects that are not cardiovascular. And that 10 hours of being seated is an issue. And what I find most interesting about this, because this is probably, yes, I agree, it's not really the right sort of science. We're living in an age now where 50 years ago, you were still digging trenches by hand, you were still doing everything by hand. We're living in a era now where even if you're standing up at work, you're probably swiping or or something. So I wonder if we shouldn't be just saying, well, look, being sedentary generally is a fact of life because of the technology we've got. What is the way forward? What should we be doing? You know, should it be more like dietary guidelines? And actually, when you get up in the morning, first thing you should do is go for a 10 or 15-minute walk. Is you know, are these the sorts of things that, you know, because of the consequence of technology, we are going to be sitting 10 hours a day?
Yeah, just like that Pixar movie, was it Wall-E, I think?
Yeah.
We'll all just be in our big armchairs floating around the place. You know, that could be the next step in human evolution. Who knows?
Well, with technology, I ask you, like, if we're automating everything, what's left for us to do? There's no incentive to get off the couch. So, like, you know, it is a logical progression. And we should be looking to a future where we are adapting our lives to the fact that we're not going to be moving around as much.
Well, that's a bit of a sobering thought. Or I don't know, like when you think about trying to move huge masses of people to, you know, in their supposed best interest, you know, to go with these health outcomes kind of thing, or health activities, I should say, that's really, really hard. And it's not as if there isn't information around that's being, you know, broadcast to people. You get your ads on TV, whether they're government ads or whatever, that promote healthy living and whatever. But at the end of the day, it's a bit hard. You just can't expect everyone to do that. And then obviously there's going to be a proportion of the population that could have this problem.
Oh, exactly. And I mean, can you really see, you know, I don't know, health experts recommending employers bring back the smoko so people can walk around for 10 minutes every 15 or something?
Exactly.
I don't know. Maybe treadmills next to your stand-up desk. Who knows? Gordon Gekko style.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Steve, we might wrap it up there. I mean, I'm sitting down, so I'm going to have to get up and do my 30 minutes of intense physical activity. Otherwise, I'm going to be shot for the rest of the day.
You make sure you do that.
Absolutely. All right, so that's it for this week's episode. We'll catch you next time.